Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about the transit Sun making a square, opposition, or inconjunct to one's natal Mars. Now, when you have transits that involve the Sun, that can be about life, actions, what we want, our focus, our attention, where we want to shine in. Now, when transit Sun makes basically an adverse aspect to natal Mars, can be about our life, actions, what we want, uh, focus, and attention, where we want to shine and may conflict. It could be with other actions you want to take. I mean, if you have an opposition involving the zodiac sign Cancer and Capricorn, it could be having home, family matters, introversion, opposing actions you want to take with a business, with your career, with your outer world, as opposed to perhaps your inner world. Mars is also associated with our drive and our motivation. And it might be difficult at this time, more so than usual, to find that drive and motivation. It could be just simply taking some kind of action. It could be matters pertaining to your life in general. Um, if it's something it could be with what we want. Save Aquarius, the Sun is in Aquarius. Maybe it might have something to do with friends or acquaintances, or something with innovation, or matters with computers or electronics or astrology even. Now, Mars is also associated with vitality and energy, and the Sun, of course, is associated with that as well. The Sun is more, it can be vitality, but it's a lot of it too is creative energy, so it might be difficult at this time as far as your self-expression, finding the vitality and energy to even creatively um, express yourself. Going back to Aquarius, it might be through some kind of electronic art as an example. Or, I mean, if it's in Taurus, it might just simply be just art, just in general. Pisces could be abstract art, or matters, something with spirituality, expressing oneself with poetry or dancing, or even maybe in some manner through the metaphysical, which can include astrology. Now, Mars is also connected with aggression and assertion. It can be a time where it may be hard, to take your action, and or even wanting to express yourself in a more aggressive manner. That energy may be more difficult at this time as far as expressing it or taking action on matters that would require aggression and initiative and enterprise. Now, it can also be a time too where you look at Mars, it's also associated with violence. So it's a time where you may need to be a little bit more careful in terms of violence to the physical body. If you're in a bad neighborhood or something, and there is a lot of volatile actions there, and it's a dangerous area where there's violence, it's a time where you may need to take more precautions, more so than usual. Mars is also associated with confrontation and combat, so it might be a time where you might find wanting, there might be a situation with a child, or biological father, or it could even be superior or supervisor, which you might have a confrontation with, which you didn't necessarily want. But that situation with those people may be a little bit more contentious than usual. And Mars is also connected with injuries, so it's important this time. I mean, injuries might be more, greater propensity for injuries with something related to the Sun, which rules the Sun, such as the heart, the upper back, the spine, and it could also even be just something based on where the Sun is positioned at the time of the transit, because the Sun has a connection with the physical body. If it's in Capricorn, for example, it could be something with the knees, the bones, the joints, uh, the hamstrings, something with um, it could be something as well when you have this transit can also be, I mean, Mars is also connected with the anatomically with the head, the skull, the face, sexual organs. So there can be, in some cases, there may be a greater proclivity towards some kind of issue. Um, with that, at this time, it could be, um, because the sun, is connected with the physical body, and Mars does rule what I had stated before, as far as its, you could say, the anatomical correspondences. And the thing about it is, it can also be a situation I mean, you look at this, Mars is connected with enthusiasm as well. So it might be harder to take action and do things you want to do with enthusiasm at this time, more so than usual. Things might be a little bit harder to do, as far as taking action in things, and feeling really, exuberant about doing so. At this time, it might be more of a drag for you than usual, and it may be harder to get that motivation and drive in order to do so. Now, Mars is also connected with leadership, so it might be a situation where, if you're at a job and you're at a position with a, superior or supervisor, they may be wanting you to express more leadership prowess. It may be more, maybe for some reason you don't really want to do this. Because remember that this is often about, these aspects can be about conflict, and the sun can be connected with authority figure. It can be, Mars is about leadership, and also too, there may be a greater proclivity for accidents, because you're talking about Mars is associated with accidents. The Sun is associated with the physical body. It can be a situation having this transit as well. Remember that Mars is also very impulsive energy, so you have to be careful at this time where you might wind up taking some action, that could be very impulsive. That might be to your detriment. It could be something simple, being, say, if Aquarius is involved, it could be just hitting a button on a computer and inadvertently erasing, some kind of, data, or, something you might have typed up that you can't retrieve. Um, at this time, with Capricorns involved, it might be some business decision. If you have the fifth house in there, it might be something, like an investment of some kind that could be very impulsive, and that, once it's done, you might not be able to unfix it. Mars is also connected with sex, and it may be a situation where you might be having difficulty finding the drive and motivation to have it at this time. You might be, feel like, no, I don't say lethargic, or just the interest just might not be, the energy may not be there during this transit as more so compared to usual. Now, another way this could manifest and pan out, this could be about the biological father, a child, maybe it could be matters with these people may conflict with your actions and your activities for yourself. Say if this is in, Scorpio is involved, it can be, say Mars is in Scorpio in your natal chart. In this transit could be connected with maybe activities that require mechanical skill, and if it's in the third house, it can be connected with vehicles, such as working on cars, automobiles, trucks, what have you. Um, Another thing too is that it might, when you talk about this transit, physical issues or debilitation might give, more difficulty in perhaps initiating things, beginning able to start something. Say if it's in Sagittarius, if you have, the transit sun is in Sagittarius, it could be an issue with the thigh, or the liver, the sciatic nerve, or the hip, or even obesity. Might be causing some issues in terms of you having that drive, and feeling like actually starting things and taking action in matters. Now, some cases this could be about a situation with authority figures, supervisors. Again, as I was saying earlier, maybe more contentious, maybe more acrimonious than usual. Say if it's in Taurus, if the sun is in Taurus, it could be matters with maybe persistence. It could be patience. Maybe it's over money, or even if Mars is in Taurus in this example, I would say, because those could be things that could be making somebody angry. Hold on a moment, people. Now, also, this may be expressed in a challenge to get attention from Mars people. And I say Mars people, people that are associated with Mars, such as could be surgeons if you're trying to get surgery on something. It could be, trying to get that appointment, being able to do so. It could be gun sellers, of course, legally where you can buy them. Law enforcement. Uh, it can be issues too, where one might simply be angry at one's basic character, because that's what the sun is associated with. Mars is about anger, exasperation. Now, let's say if the sun is in transit, sun is in Pisces, it could be maybe feeling at this time like you're overly passive, or weak-willed, or lethargic, or overly ambivalent and indecisive and confused. There could be also physical issues which might be tied in with the face, the head, the skull, the sexual organs. It could also be about an injury or even surgery, because Mars is connected with surgery, with the upper back, the spine, um, the heart, or even on something, based on the sign the sun is in at the time. If it's Gemini, for example, it could be something with the arms, the shoulders, the hands, something with the lungs, something that's associated with breathing. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.